experience above all else, how could you, it's kind of hard not to justify going for him, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so true. I mean, if you look at the Pro League sets, he's 4-6, but it doesn't really show his true skill and knowledge of the matchup, this PvP matchup. He's played so many big tournaments, big matches, and had to win this matchup so many times, so.
Well, very well versed indeed. Ruin 4-1 with that stellar record. You know, I feel like the votes for him make sense. He's 2-0 versus Protoss, but that's only 2 games to look at. It's not a whole lot. He has looked very good in his PvP, especially in the past, actually, when he was playing for IM in the GSTL. But here, now, against the Kingslayer Zest, definitely a tough mountain to climb here.
Yeah, it's not even just about how good of a player Zest is. You got to think about Ruin's mindset coming into this. He's going up against a GSL champion. This guy is a monster, a Kingslayer, like you said.
Yeah. Well, Habitation Station is the map. Not known for crazy pros versus pros, but it's a pretty small map. Let's jump into game number 1, the KT Rollster versus Incredible Miracle.
Up here in the top left in the red for KT Rollster, it's Zest.
And over here to the top right in the blue for IM, it's Ruin. A player, you know, very known for his strong start at the beginning of Heart of the Swarm.
They're looking at who is going to get in the 4th round into the postseason. Is it going to be KT, IM, or maybe perhaps Jinair?
You're actually really fast at reading handwriting. I'm still slow.
I went to school for a year for it, so.
I'm like, I can read it if it's on a screen, but if it's on a piece of paper, probably can't write it either.
Well, you haven't heard me try and read it yet. That's a whole new level of slur, man. I'm sounding him out and getting it wrong.
Look at this. SC2 bigger than World Cup. TLO bigger than you. TLO greater than you. Yep. I think that's a subtle shout out to the r/StarCraft Circle Jerk group, but there's you know, TLO is the best player in the world according to those people, I think.
Fair enough.
TLO, in fairness, once upon a time, one of the strongest StarCraft 2 players there ever was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
She says, "Let's go Zest, Whiting, and please date me."
At least she's honest, you know. I'm happy to see that.
She's going for what she wants, you know. Yeah, aggressive.
She knows what she wants and she's going for it.
Yeah, I get a little bit stressed out about when I see that sign because I was actually thinking of asking him out myself, and now I've got some competition.
You got some competition, man. You got to get on that.
Yeah, you better act quick. Get on that, man. Oh, we see a pylon. Top left of the base could very well be a starport.
That's the Stargate pylon.
Stargate, not a starport.
Both of these players are actually doing it. This is going to turn into something really, really interesting.
Yeah,
so.
This map often is a Phoenix versus Phoenix oriented map where you have one player go for Phoenix Open, the other one a little bit more delayed, and then that player has to then decide that does he want to try to catch up and do the Phoenix fight, or does he want to switch into something else? And if they both agree to go Phoenixes, then games get pretty crazy. Not maze level crazy, but sometimes we get borderline.
And I mean, then you got like people that are going Oracle against Phoenix, and then one player automatically loses the air war and has to transition rather quickly.
Yeah, it often is game losing, in fact, if you choose to go Oracle on this map.
Yeah.
That's why I think we'll both see Phoenixes.
Oh, hold on.
That's interesting.
And Zest totally missed that probe, so they both actually didn't see the scouting probes of each other. Kind of routed around each other.
Yeah, I believe that's just out of vision of the watchtower as well. So let's see if he ends up using that for anything.
I wonder what he could use it for exactly. What does that say, Brendan?
Well, we're still trying to figure out what Gurjem means.
Gurjem, honey fun. That's what that is.
Okay.
We had this problem last week. Like I'm gonna have to talk to Sojung or something and get the full meaning here, the full story. Double Twilight Council, by the way, here. And
very interesting.
That pylon looks to just be a forward warping point.
Yeah, very early on. Kind of strange to see it so early. I mean, if it gets caught out and killed, huge disadvantage.
For sure.
For Ruin. So,
Don't crash into each other, Mothership cores. That's dangerous.
Got to be careful here. Got to respect the airspace.
Both players dropping 2 gates. It looks like in this build, Zest is just slightly faster in everything. There's 2 gates coming out faster, the Twilight Council out faster, even the Cybernetics core as well.
Yeah, it looks like Ruin made an additional probe. He's at 23 versus 22, so I guess maybe that's where that comes from.
Probably because that extra probe is on the bottom of the map. He wants to kind of compensate for it.
That's actually a really good point.
Well, both players going blink.
Oh, wow.
And putting matchups next to each other.
This could not get any more mirror, man.
Now it's just weird.
This is a mirror match we're watching right now.
These guys took the same build from the same guy. Like,
draw the line of symmetry on that production tab. Draw a line of symmetry on this map.
Yeah.
Even the gateway placement is almost identical. Okay, fake Oracle coming in here now, or thinking about going in there. Meanwhile, this is already scouting. That's why the Count's being chronoed, so he knows what he's up against. And he drops a Robo. So he's going to play the defender style here. Yeah. I'm actually feeling really good about Zest now, because he's seen everything that's going on.
Not react? Oh, no, man, sorry.
He's going to get his file.
I'm like, wait, that's the enemy stalkers, but never mind, guys. But I totally agree with him playing the defensive style, because pylons are already out on the map for him, for Ruin, that is. So he doesn't know exactly where they all are. And he's got to, I think it's definitely a much safer choice to just hide at home, wait for the Immortal production, and play it safe. So
Zest actually spent a time warp with his Mothership core to get 1 kill, 1 probe kill in there. Do you guys think that's worth it?
Well, here's my take on this. He slows the mine down by 25% too for a little brief period of time, but I'm actually concerned that he's not going to have that energy to defend at home because Ruin still hasn't taken a Nexus yet. I guess he's thinking that he most likely will bring, go ahead and make a Nexus, but it's a little bit of a risk here as he hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if he was paying attention to Army Comp, he would have seen 2 sentries that got warped, and I think that was after the original sentry that made the hallucination, so I think it's until 3. Don't quote me on that, but
I think you're right. That looks like both these pylons are eliminated now.
So yeah, it's kind of definitely kind of turning into a bit of a completely identical game. Just Zest is getting his expansion faster, his tech faster, so really his choices are kind of giving him quite an advantage here. It's kind of strange how delayed Ruin's expansion was more than anything else, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a bit of uncertainty about what he wanted to do. It seems like he was just hesitating a little bit, and that is going to come back to cost him a little bit because essentially everything he's done is later. His tech is later, and his Nexus is later.
Even the Forge now.
Yeah, I mean, he's spent money for sentries to defend, and that's a lot of gas. He's actually, spent so much on that that slows everything else down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zest makes his own 3 sentries.
Yeah, I think that's going to be partially for hallucination scouts, but also Guardian Shield later, and he doesn't want to die to any sort of weird, wonky counterattack.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, both these guys have made robos, but haven't used them yet.
Yeah, that's actually what's really strange to me.
You'd think by now like they'd be making Immortal production to kind of deal with these Blink Stalkers.
Sure, and Immortals are always going to be useful in PvP, like in the end game as well. It's a bit strange. I feel like they've kind of made some sort of gentleman's agreement to not attack each other, and they're going to just keep scouting each other, poking a little bit, but not a single Immortal. More focused on the late game, I suppose, with these forges. And actually, a Robotics Bay comes up now for Zest, so he'll be going Colossi first. Colossi, no longer the end-all, be-all in PvP, but still obviously very strong, standard, and viable.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot stronger than kind of like the Mortal Tech versus Colossus. Colossus are always going to kind of come out on top so long as the position is right. As long as he can get there in time.
Right, and what we do see an Immortal and a Templar Archives coming out of Ruin, so he's going to be taking that Charge Zealot Immortal Archon route here.
And here's those hallucination scouts you were talking about. Zest is going to come in here, and if he sticks around for a bit, he could actually see the Immortal pop out as well. He's going to want to know what's coming out of that. He's going to see all the tech, Twilight, Templar Archives, excuse me.
Yeah, so let's see how he wants to play this. Against Charge Zealot Archon and Immortals, it's actually a bit tough to take your third base, right away. It's hard to fast expand your third because that comp is going to be very mobile. It's got charged zealots. They can run in there and snipe the base, perhaps. It's very overwhelming and snowball-y composition, so I think he's just going to sit back and play it safe, get a few Colossi out first. But
yeah, I mean, you always want to like get like a certain amount of Colossi before the fight goes a lot better for the Protoss with that tech. Obviously going to try and play defensive as possible and try and get a good position with it especially. And we do see Ruin taking the center of the map, and looks like posturing up to get a third base at this point.
Yeah.
It's looking that way. We have Storm on the production tab for Ruin here. He's keeping that. I mean, he's scouted everything that Zest is doing. Once he saw the Robo Bay, he made one of his own as well.
Yeah, and this little Phoenix Cup finally gets taken out there. It looks like he's actually going to be aggressive with this. I think he just wants to make sure he can deny a third. I don't think he'll actually commit to the natural. That Stalker is a dead Stalker. That was my prediction. It came true.
The deadest Stalker ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually might see a timing from this. I mean, he is saving up a lot of minerals here. We haven't seen him take a base, Zest that is, but he is moving a probe out on the map, and this Warp Prism could definitely do a little work.
This is what the Storm is for.
Yeah.
He's sending 2 of those around. He's going to go for the mineral lines.
We actually just do not ever see this in PvP. It's pretty rare to see Psionic Storm actually being researched. It even almost slipped my mind when I saw it being researched. My brain went into like PvT mode or something, but like Storm not the most useful in big fights, actually, but let's see him, man. He's definitely not going to be expecting this. One cannon is not going to protect these probes. Here we go. Storms go down, and
oh boy.
Wow.
10 kills immediately.
And that's not all he's going to get, most likely, because a Warp Prism is still out there. And this actually triggers Zest to be a little more aggressive.
Yeah, he knows that Rune has dumped a bunch of those gas units into those, a bunch of the gas into those High Templar that just went for the Storm. So he knows he probably has the army advantage here. He has 3 Colossi and some Archons as well in this mix. He's going to have 2.
Yeah.
And a huge problem here is that there are no Archons in Ruin's army, so he can force field the ramp, and there's nothing he can do.
Oh, you're exactly right, Moonglade. And here we go. He needs to actually make those Templar into an Archon, or force it's going to be devastating. Storm on Colossi, not very effective here.
Oh, and the whole army of Rune very, very bunched up. A bunch of Immortals going down here as well. Those Stalkers are trying to do work for Rune on the right side, but the third Colossi.
Those Zealots are tanking a lot here for Ruin. He has that Immortal Force as well to help out here. He actually might, I don't think he can hold without a Nexus Cannon here. There's just too many Stalkers. I mean, rather, too many Colossi, not enough Stalkers.
Yep, the 3 Colossi and the extra Zealots coming in here are doing work to that mineral line now. And the Colossus of Ruin has to run away for now. He needs another buddy in there.
Yeah, well, this is, I mean, that's cute micro, but Psystorm on Colossi is
Just not enough.
it's just not effective. It's not an effective way to do damage to big units. It's more effective at building a large group of small units.
GG.
Wow, what a weird game.
What a weird game. I mean, lesson learned.
I mean,
Storm isn't that great in PvP still.
Yeah, I mean, like, sure, it killed 10 probes, but a counterattack's going to kill you because you invested 300 gas into something that isn't enough. I mean, on such a small map like that, you can trigger a counterattack, and you're just going to die, especially if your tech is so behind. You have no Archons to deal with force fields.
By the way, look at this. Young chick has gone full Caleris. Look at it.
Yeah. That's actually really impressive.
Like, I never thought I would see a day that somebody went all the way, went down the Caleris road, man. I've always long wanted to myself to try it, but wow, Young chick, man, he must really like Caleris. I'm going to ask him later if he's his favorite caster. That's not the correct answer, though, because obviously I am his favorite caster. But,
of course. No doubt.
So, weird game.
Weird game.
Good start here, though, for KT Rolster, who are the favorites. I would say most people would argue in this match, but I am coming off of that 3-0 versus CJ. Definitely picked up some momentum. Also important to note is there goes perfect PvP record in Pro League.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all gone now.
Such a shame.
He's smiling. I think he knows, you know, that was pretty much
It's like,
straightforward as it gets.
yeah, it's like, wow, that was random, guys. Haha. And they're probably like, yeah, no idea what happened there, man.
Well, it's funny because these Colossi that he made earlier really synergized with what happened. Had he himself built a very similar composition, I think it would have been a lot harder for him to actually siege up and attack like that.
I agree completely, actually. I mean, if it was the same composition, Storm would probably have done a lot more because it would have been Zealots and Sentries and some Stalkers. So Storm obviously would have had a greater effect than Colossi.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have been in such a terrible position in his